Hello everyone. In the present video, I'll try to cover wired LANs or Ethernet. So the IEEE has invented the project 802 for wired LANs or Ethernet, and it consisting of two layers. The IEEE has subdivided the data link layer into two sublayers, that is logical link layer and media access control, that is MAC. So we'll see the diagram. So here we can observe that as per IEEE standard for LANs, the logical control is divided into two types, that is LLC and media access control. So in the case of LLC or logical link control, the data link control handles framing, flow control and error control. In IEEE 802, flow control, error control and part of framing duties are collected into one sublayer called as logical link control, that is LLC. Framing is handled in both LLC sublayer and MAC sublayer. The LLC provides a single link layer control protocol for all IEEE LANs. This means that LLC protocol can provide interconnectivity between different LANs because it makes the MAC sublayer transparent. So next comes the LLC, the major responsibilities of LLC is framing, flow control and error control. And if you are considering MAC, that is media access control, access control, IEEE project 802 has created a sublayer called as media access control that defines a specific access method for each LAN. So it defines how exactly the data can be accessed for each LAN. For example, it defines CSMA bar CD as the media access method for Ethernet LANs and defines the token passing method for token ring and token bus LANs. So it specifies which kind of access method we can adopt. For example, we can adopt CSMA bar CD for Ethernet LANs and token ring and token bus topology for token passing method. So as we mentioned in the previous part, the framing function is also handled by MAC layer. So LLC as well as MAC, it performs the framing function. So here we can observe that in LLC LLC is one half, and in MAC we are having different access method, that is Ethernet MAC, token ring MAC and token bus MAC. So with respect to that, the layers like Ethernet physical layer, token ring physical layer and token bus physical layer. So this exists on the transmission medium. So this is the explanation of logical link control as well, link control. As I explained before, the major functionality is flow control, error control, and a part of framing duties are collected in one sublayer called as logical link control. So next is media access control. So media access control specifies multiple access methods including random access, controlled access and channelization. IEEE project 802 has created a sublayer called as media access control that defines the specific access method for each LAN. And the next topic is Ethernet evolution. So in the case of Ethernet, we are having different classifications like standard Ethernet, fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet and 10 gigabit Ethernet. So depending upon the data rate, the standard Ethernet, the data rate is 10 megabits per second. Fast Ethernet, the data rate is around 100 megabits per second. Gigabit Ethernet means 1 gigabits per second, and 10 gigabit Ethernet means 10 gigabits per second. So next is standard Ethernet. So in the case of standard Ethernet, as I said, the data rate will be around 10 megabits per second. The characteristics of standard Ethernet are, the first characteristics is connectionless and unreliable service. So Ethernet provides a connectionless service, which means each frame sent is independent of of the previous or next frame. There is no connection establishment while sending the data frame. Ethernet has no connection establishment or connection termination phases. The sender sends a frame whenever it has to send, and receiver may or may not be ready to receive the data. So next is frame format. So the frame format, the total size of the frame is shown in the figure. So it consisting of different sub slots like preamble, SFD, destination address, source address, length or type, data and padding, and CRC. So we'll take one by one. First is preamble. So preamble is the field contains 7 bytes or else 56 bits of alternating zeros and ones that alter the receiving system to the coming frame and enable it to synchronize its clock if it's out of synchronization. So preamble field is used for synchronization purpose whenever the different frames are coming from the different frames are coming from the nodes, and the field size is around will be around 7 bytes, that is 56 bits. The pattern is alternating zeros and ones, and this pattern provides only an alert and timing pulses. The 56-bit pattern allows the station to miss some bits at the beginning of the frame. The preamble is actually added at the physical layer and is not a part of the frame. So preamble means we are adding extra alternate zeros and ones for synchronization purpose. So this preamble is not at all a part of the actual information. So next field is start of frame, that is SFD. This field will be around 1 byte, that is 101010, and last 2 bits are 11, signals the beginning of the frame. The SFD warns the station or stations that this is the last chance for synchronization. So the start frame delimiter or SFD so will be the actual field size is around 1 byte, and the pattern is 101011, and this warns the stations that this will be the last chance for synchronization. The last 2 bits, that are 11, and alerts the receiver that next field is the destination address. So the last pattern is 11 and alerts the receiver that the next field is the destination address. So destination address, the next field is destination address. So this field is 6 bytes, that is 48 bits, and contains the link layer address of the destination station or stations to receive the packet. The next field is source address, which holds the size of this field is around 6 bytes and contains the link layer address of the sender. That means that is nothing but from which particular node the packet is originated. So next is type. This field defines the upper layer protocol whose packet is encapsulated in the frame. This protocol can be either Internet Protocol, Address Resolution Protocol, or Open Shortest Path Protocol, and so on. So next is data. This field carries data encapsulated from the upper layer protocol. The size of the data will be around the minimum size is 46, and maximum will be around 1500 bytes. So there will be some limitation for the data. Minimum size of the data should be 46 bytes and maximum should be 1500 bytes. The last field is CRC, that is nothing but error detection and correction field. In this case we are using CRC 32. The CRC is calculated over the address, types, and data field. If the receiver calculates the CRC it finds that it is not 0, it discards the frame. So frame length. So we are having some limitation for the frame length. So minimum frame length will be around 64 bytes. Minimum data length will be around 46 bytes, and maximum frame length will be around 1518 by 1500. 18 bytes, and maximum data length will be around 1500 bytes. So we are having in the frame length we have to fix the frame length either in terms of bits or bytes. If it is in terms of bits, means minimum size will be 512 bits or 64 bytes. Maximum frame length will be around 1518 bytes or 12144 bits. The next characteristics is addressing. A source address is always a unicast address. The frame comes from only one station. The destination address may be either unicast, multicast, or broadcast. So we can observe the diagram in which we are having the least significant bit of the first byte in a destination address. So this is, we are having 6 bytes of destination address. So in that, take the first byte of the destination address, and in the first byte of the destination address, so the LSB bit, if it is 0, that means unicast address, and if the LSB bit is 1, that means multicast address. So we can directly get the information regarding the destination address is unicast or multicast by considering the first byte of the destination address and check the LSB bit. If the LSB bit is 0, unicast address. If it is 1, multicast address. The distinguish between unicast, multicast, and broadcast transmission. In a unicast transmission, all stations will receive the frame, and intended recipient keeps and handles the frame, and rest will discard it. So in the case of unicast transmission, all stations will receive the frame, but only the desired or intended recipient will keep the frame, and rest all the other stations will discard the frames. So in the case of multicast transmission, all stations will receive the frame. The stations that are members of the group keep and handle it, and rest will discard it. So multicast transmission can be used within the group. That means the node or station, if it is a member of the group, so it receives the frame whenever the sender sends the data, and other stations can discard the frame. So in the last case, that is in a broadcast transmission, all stations except the sender will receive the frame, and all stations except the sender will keep and handle the frame. So these are the some differences between unicast, multicast, and broadcast. So in the case of unicast, all stations will receive the frame, only one recipient will handle the frame. But in the case of multicast transmission, all stations will receive the frame, but the stations that are members of the group will keep and handle it. So in the last case, that is multicast transmission, all stations will receive the frame, and all stations will keep and handle it. So next is access method. So we can have the different access method for standard Ethernet. So in the case of standard Ethernet protocol is a broadcast network, we need to use an access method to control access to the sharing medium. The standard Ethernet choose CSMA bar CD with iPersistent method. So we can adopt any kind of access method. So we can use CSMA bar CD with different persistent methods also. The next is efficiency of standard Ethernet. So efficiency of standard Ethernet can be defined as is equal to 1 by 1 plus 6.4 into A, where A is the number of frames that can fit on the medium. So it can be calculated as A is equal to propagation delay divided by transmission delay.